in a second. So, I don't know what's going on today, but I thought I'd record because I don't know what might come out of my mouth, and it might be interesting. So, the cockeyed camera is kind of appropriate because I'm feeling a little cockeyed right now. I had this weird, almost out of body feeling today. I don't know what's going on, but I just finished listening to Joe Rogan, Elon Musk, and before that I listened to David Lee Roth, and I just started listening to Steve Aoki, and I don't think this has anything to do with it, but yeah, I just had this weird, like, not quite in my body feeling. I know I've got some kind of scary, heavy stuff coming up in the next couple weeks, and I've got some exciting, scary stuff coming up in the next couple weeks, and it's all coming up fast, and I think maybe that's part of it, is I'm trying to I don't know if I'm trying to assimilate the time between now and then with today. You know, like, I still have to get through today, and I still have tasks to do, but I have things I need to be preparing for mentally and otherwise, and I'm not finding the time to do that, so it's almost like I'm trying to will time to slow down. I don't know. This sounds super weird and probably super crazy, but yeah, so I don't know. It's so crazy to me that there are so many infinite possibilities in the world. Like, I could make a decision today to do something, anything really, that would change the course of my life. Or I could not. I could just follow the steps that I normally follow and stay on autopilot. And then everything just keeps moving the way it's moving. That's crazy to me. You know, each decision I make or don't make is what continues me on whatever path that decision follows. Kind of like those, I don't think they've been out for a really long time, but when I was in early grade school, they had these books where you could choose your endings. So as you would go along every couple pages, you could choose A or B, and you would flip to that page that corresponded to continue the story, and that would, like, determine the outcome of the story. It was actually kind of a cool idea. I loved those books. Like, everybody in my class loved those books. We ate them up. They were cool. And then, you know, you could always go back and choose the other endings that you didn't choose to see what that was about, you know. So that was a cool thing from when I was back in early grade school. So, like, late 80s, early 90s probably. So yeah. And then I was also thinking, like, and this did get triggered by watching Elon Musk. He was talking about that, you know, most people are innately good people. They're kind, you know. And that led to a thought of, you know, when things get tough for people, you know, it's amazing, those heartwarming stories of people that stepped in and helped. And, like, I was reading probably something I clicked on Facebook last night about that you text your number neighbor on your phone, and it was like a bunch of those, like, how they turned out kind of thing. And, like, one guy told his number neighbor he was hungry, and the guy gave him, like, he paid him through Samsung or whatever, $15 to buy dinner. And then another one was like, hey, it's my birthday today, I'm 21, and his neighbor, like, bought him drinks, you know, sent money for drinks, like, cool stuff like that. Like, people, a perfect stranger, doing cool things like that. Or then my thoughts jump to, like, you know, when there's a crisis, like in Katrina or other crises that happen, how communities, not only in the area that is affected, but people from all around will come and gather and pull together to, you know, help each other, do whatever it takes to keep each other safe and, you know, rescue each other and help each other rebuild. And it's like, you know, what if we could create that kind of, not urgency, but why do we only wait till there's a crisis to work together in that way? You know? I know it would be a little harder in larger cities, except that larger cities are still divided into kind of communities or neighborhoods, you know? So how amazing would that be if, like, all of a sudden, I don't know, but, you know, a mental change happened, and communities and neighborhoods and small towns like the one I live in, like, everybody just woke up that day and that mentality was there all the time. You know, people went knocking on each other's doors to be like, hey, do you need anything? Can I help you do something? You know, do you need something I might have that you need some of? You know, whatever, community gardening, community whatever. And I thought, well, why isn't that the case? Because people are, I think, at the core innately of that mindset. You know, I know for me, if I had more downtime, I could definitely have the time and the I don't know about ability. What I'm trying to say is, like, there's so many of us out there that are just working, you know, 7 days a week. We have these tasks to do that we have to have our jobs so that we can pay our bills and cover our bills. And we have to, you know, grocery shop and cook and clean and keep our cars maintained and feed our pets. And things are so crazy that everybody, their focus just has to do that, because in order to maintain any kind of structure, that's all they have time for, is paying their bills and doing the daily stuff. Now, there's a lot of people, of course, that, you know, on the weekends or whatever, they go out and they socialize with their friends and stuff like that, or help each other out, you know, help a friend move, or help a friend fix their car, or whatever the case is. But I feel like if society was not so consumer oriented, that there would be more time for community. There would be more time for that like-mindedness, that one-mindedness, you know, and that would be a future I would look forward to. You know, like my job, we do control panels, and we put out, probably just on my line, we put out 150, 30 times 5. Yeah, 150-ish panels in a 5-day span. Every week. Week after week, month after month, year after year. 150 panels a week. Why is there so much going on that there is a need for that many control panels? Like, I just feel like that's just my industry, you know. Where my husband works, he was telling me that they go through 10,000 pounds of cheese a day and 2,000 pounds of pepperoni. That's just one tiny little facility in a tiny little town in the middle of Minnesota. Why? Why is there such a need for that kind of capacity? There's too much consumerism going on, and it just keeps amping up so that the people at the top can make their money. It's not to provide a service, really. I mean, it is, but it isn't. It's excess, you know, and if that would just slow down in that regard, and I don't know if that would drive the cost of things down or up, really. You know, so not only, like, let's not make it so that people have to work these ungodly hours their whole lives, you know, some kind of regulation, or I don't know what. I sound like an absolute lunatic right now, and I understand that. I'm just rambling thoughts. You know, where would that take us? He was talking, Elon was talking about, you know, his Tesla, and they sound like they do far outperform gasoline, diesel vehicles. And what would a future look like that all ran on cars like Tesla? And, you know, he threw out some ungodly number of vehicles that are currently on the roads in the world or in the United States. I'm not really sure which. I don't remember. And my instant thought was, yeah, and there's thousands and thousands being made every single day. Why? Do you know how many lots of cars are sitting unpurchased? Why does I'm looking at an RV lot right now to my left. Why do they need 200 campers sitting there that they might sell? And that's one tiny RV place in middle Minnesota. And you spread that across the United States, there's tens of thousands of cars and campers sitting there waiting for somebody to buy them so that somebody can make money, because they made so many that if they don't sell a bunch, they lose money. Stop it, people. Those kinds of things, to me, should be a custom thing. You want a camper, you order it, it gets made. Why do we need 30 million of them sitting on hand waiting for somebody to get the idea or have the finances to be able to buy a camper? And the rest go where? Where do they go? They sit and rot, probably. Just like all these houses. There was a neighborhood in Michigan over by one of the schools they built. They built this school, and they built this neighborhood of mansions, like legit mansions, behind it. And it was kind of I think it was supposed to be like, if you build it, they will come. And 30 houses, 30 of these mansions were sitting, rotting. Nobody ever purchased them. Nobody ever moved in. The foundations were crumbling. The roofs were rotting, and they just sat. Why? Why is that a thing? Like, we need to stop it. Like, knock it off. I don't understand. Why do I have to work 50 hours a week just to cover my bills and do what? Someday I'm gonna die, and then what? It means nothing. It means nothing. And how many millions of people, tens of millions of people, are doing this every single day? All because of consumerism. I don't understand. So, you know, it's sad, but there's no way at this pace that we can ever have that kind of community where everybody comes together in the same way that they do only in an emergency. Because in the meantime, everybody's too busy scrambling to pay their bills and keep their lights on and pay their car payment and pay their insurance and go to the doctor and pay their doctor's bills. And, you know, oh God, that was a chain in the middle of the road. That's fucking dangerous as shit. Man, I hope somebody calls that in. I'm not gonna, because I can't drive and talk on the phone. But I don't know. It's sad that that's how it's become. And we're just using up our resources and burning through everything we have, and now we're burning the Amazon forest just to fucking make more the Amazon forest people, seriously, we're burning through the Amazon forest so that we have more farmland for fucking chickens and cows or whatever, so that all these meat eaters that are eating it by the tens of thousands of tons can have more. There should be community farming. We feed each other. Money doesn't matter. We're all feeding each other, we're all helping each other, and the only thing that matters is our happiness and our survival. Not having $2.5 billion in our bank account, you know? And that brings up another topic that I've run through my head, you know, like in listening to videos about wealthy people or money or mindsets about money, it has come up repeatedly that not being angry, I guess being angry at rich people or having a negative mindset towards rich people is holding you back, first of all. Because really, you don't know what they did to get that money, and it's not your place to judge how they got that money, and it's really none of your fucking business, to be honest. You know, I know of a guy that, through my husband, that is, you know, he's worth some money, and his wife is worth some money, and I also can look deep enough to know what they've done to get there, and it's been many years, and it's been God knows how many hours, and it's been a shit ton of work. They didn't just fall into this money. They didn't sell drugs to get this money. They didn't, you know, they're not the head of a mafia corporation. They worked for that money. So good on them. Good for them. Yeah, I wish they would share some with us. But it's none of my business. It's not their obligation to share any of it. They worked hard for it. You know, just the same, like, I might just be making ends meet, but because I'm comfortable-ish doesn't obligate me to give out what I do have to somebody who has less. Yes, that would be cool, but at the end of the day, if my refrigerator breaks or my AC breaks or my roof gets a hole in it, I have to have the ability to cover that. Whereas they have excess, that's not a problem, you know. So I can see where that mindset comes from, because it is frustrating. I get frustrated all the time thinking about, you know, the Elon Musks and the what's his name? Steve Bezos. Steve? Bezos? Bezos, whatever his first name is, I can't remember now. I think I was thinking Steve Jobs, and then Bezos came in the middle. Anyway, you know, they have an excess that, of course, they can't help everybody, and they do help people. They do give a lot of money away, but it's hard not to go to that place in my mind sometimes where I'm like, fuck, if I could just, you know, reach out to them and, you know, plead my case, and they would give me, you know, 10 grand. And that would get my life turned around. That would get me to where I was in a more comfortable position. And I wouldn't have to worry about money. They make that much money because they don't have to do the daily grinds that we do. They have people that drive them. They have people that cook for them. They have people that clean for them. They have people that manage things for them. So their time is free to utilize their brain for those new ideas and for that management that makes them that money. I don't have that luxury. I have to be physically doing all of these things myself, like most of us, you know, and I get jealous in that way as well, because I would love to have a driver. I would love to have somebody cooking for me. I have so many things in my head and so many ideas and things I would love to do, but I don't have that luxury, you know. I don't even, like, none of this stuff is cohesive so far. I get that, but this is how my brain works, so welcome to it. Yeah. There's so many problems in the world, and it's not going to be one Elon Musk that fixes them all, you know. He has solved some pretty crazy problems, and sure he will continue to solve many more. And, you know, there's not a lot of people that are at the level that Elon Musk is that can join him in making great changes in the world. But, you know, we can all do our little parts. We can all stop being such consumers of things and stop creating that demand to the same degree that it is at this point, you know. An extreme version of save the rainforest at this point is stop eating meat. Stop eating meat. Well, you know, to be able to get full and have a meal that is satisfying, meat's kind of a necessity for a lot of us. I like my meat. If I had a way to purchase my own full, you know, my own pig or my own cow or my own chickens for eating, that would be great. But I don't have farmland. I don't have money for feed for those animals. And then you have butcher costs, you know. So how do we solve that problem? Because commercial meat's out of control. They're burning the goddamn Amazon forest for it. The rainforest that provides a huge amount of our oxygen on this planet. For real. They're burning it down for meat. Not to mention, you know, let's talk about the farms out there that are farming tens of thousands of chickens in cramped little areas. And, I mean, it's just disgusting. It's deplorable. I don't know how it's legal. And it's legal because it makes money. That's the only reason it's still legal. It's the amount of money it brings in to do it that way. And they're allowed to do it, even though it's disgusting. Yep. It's crazy. So, I think I'm going to end the video there because I'm almost to work and I got things to do once I park. And I'm getting tired again, spacing out. Thank God it's Thursday. So I'm going to leave it at that. I don't know if I'm going to upload this, so if you see it, then I decided to upload it. I hope everybody got a little hesitation of thought somewhere in all this rambling. You know? I think we all need to think a little deeper than the shallow daily what I'm wearing and what my makeup and hair looks like. And how cool my car looks. Sometimes we need to think a little deeper about life. Unfortunately, that's... Well, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but that's where I live. I'm not a shallow surface thinker so much as I am, you know, down at this level pretty much all the time. So, I don't know. I'm going to end the video there. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that like button. I've gotten 2 more subscribers over the last week, so I think I might be like 1 away from 100 subscribers finally. Yeah. So I need to start making some more videos amongst the other 10,000 things I need to do. Yeah, I need to start making some more videos. Speaking of which, real quick, we're starting school again for my son, and I'm doing homeschool, and I need some topics. What I'm trying to do with the homeschooling is I'm not interested in teaching shit that will serve him no purpose out in the real world. That's going to do him absolutely no good. He has no interest in any of that. So, because he has no interest in those kinds of things, I need to be teaching him things that he can actually utilize, knowledge he can gain or have in his back pocket for when he's out in the real world. So, I would love to see some comments on subjects. Not subjects, but like topics, I guess. So like yesterday I wrote down, tell me about AC and DC current. Tell me about current and tell me about ohms, and tell me about amperage, and tell me about voltage. And that came from while I was working on panels. I was like, oh yeah, that would be something that would be good knowledge to have somewhere down the line. You know, how to balance a checkbook. Not that anybody really uses checkbooks, but the exercise of balancing the checkbook is what I'm looking for. Tell me about percentages when it comes to loans. Tell me about different kinds of loans. Tell me about banks versus credit unions. Tell me about just crazy stuff like that, like food service, like internal temperature of beef and chicken. How is your electricity, like when you get your bill from the electricity company and they tell you how many kilowatts you used, explain that to me. Those kinds of things are things that I would like him to learn. I could go on and on and on, but yeah, some extra input would be great. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you later. Bye.